Hi, good morning, everyone. Ntando Mbonambi here from FEM, the KZN region. Thank you for the opportunity that's been granted to me to come through and just share a bit about FEM and the benefits of being a FEM member, and just to rehash on why COIDA is so important. Sometimes we get so caught up in our day-to-day operations that we forget um, vital things like your COIDA compliance. So just to reiterate the importance of making sure that you have a valid letter of good standing. That'll be for my purpose today, and obviously just to highlight the benefits of being with FEM, and why a large majority of the building and construction sector is actually with FEM opposed to the traditional, the traditional compensation fund. It's purely based on the kind of service and benefits that they actually experience of being an FEM member. So just to 2 seconds. So just to introduce you to FEM. So we're the only company licensed by the Department of Employment and Labor, or the Compensation Fund, as a lot of you would know, to provide workmen's compensation for the building and construction industry. And we're licensed by the Compensation Fund. And just to highlight that we don't charge any fees or commissions for our services, and we charge the same rates as the Compensation Fund. All right. So just to also rehash and highlight that in terms of COIDA services, there's only 3 entities in the country which provides workmen's compensation. It would be the Compensation Fund, which is governed by the Department of Employment and Labor, and it would be FEM, whereby we take care of the building and construction industry, and RMA, whereby they take care of the mining, steel, and automotive industries. So the benefits of being with FEM is that, firstly, we understand the importance of a valid letter of good standing. All right, so that is why a valid letter of good standing is always issued within minutes upon being requested from our policyholders. Because I know a lot of sites, or actually predominantly this is what should be happening out in industry, is that you shouldn't be even awarded a job or a contract without a valid letter of good standing, because the importance of the letter of good standing is to show that you're compliant in relation to the Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Act. So now what this act is there in place to ensure and instill is to the benefits of the people on the ground. The people on the ground which are actually doing the work and making sure that they deliver the service for the company. So once this person is actually injured, so that's where we come in. So the letter of good standing, I would say, is pretty much the end product of showing that you're a compliance contractor, and that obviously you do care about your employees, because you would be compliant and have this cover to ensure that when they do get injured, they get the best medical service there is to offer. Because at the end of the day, yes, they are working for the company and they got injured while in the course of working for the company. So now, as FEM, we pride ourselves in the turnaround times when an IOD occurs. So the claim number is issued within 48 hours. The employer has a choice whether to register the claim via email or online on our website. So with FEM, we also only use private healthcare facilities. So in the event that you're injured, in the event that an employee of yours gets injured, you can go to any private healthcare facility and they would get the best medical assistance. When it comes to administration, we ensure that our documentation is FEM branded, so that in the event that you have to take your injured party to a medical facility, they can distinguish and see that, okay, though this is an FEM IOD, and obviously they know that when it comes to our accounts, we make sure that we pay it in a matter of days and not years. As the current experience out there in industry in terms of accounts being paid late, and also when it comes to claims payout in the event that there's a permanent disability, employees get their payouts with possibly in months or years. Now with FEM, we pride ourselves in the administrative process that we've actually established, and mind you that we've been around for more than 86 years. So I'd pretty much say that we've mastered this art of workmen's compensation and claims and payouts and so forth. So that's why 75% of the larger contractors are actually with FEM and not with your the other provider, because of the administrative burden. We take it off the employer's hands, so we make sure that we follow up when it comes to claims and any documents that we might require from the doctors. So we follow up in terms of hospital accounts, in terms of medical reports, and we've got a full claim tracking system on our website. So as an employer, your health and safety personnel can always track the claims, how far they are, what is required, if they follow up appointment for that particular employee. And right, and as I did mention that we ensure that we pay medical service providers within days and not years. So that's why we've got a good track record, in terms of the relationship we have out there in the industry, and obviously with the medical service providers. We ensure that we've got a good relationship, especially when it comes to the accounts being paid on time. So that alleviates a lot of the stress and burden of the employer getting accounts, for an IUD, whereas the workmen's compensation provider's duty to making sure that they are obviously paying those accounts. And also just to bring it to the attention of the employers is that we ensure that we are guided by the COIDA Act, so that we don't overpay for injuries. Because look, you are going to find your odd a person who thinks there's a certain loophole, and it's here and there, and they try to get paid out some way somehow. Look, we've got a team of professional nurses when it comes to our medical claims assessors, which assess the claims and see if it's a valid claim or not, and then we obviously follow the guidelines of the COIDA Act and ensure that we are within those parameters. So as an employer, just rest assured that we don't overpay accounts, because the guidelines are gazetted on the Act. Right, and then a reason why majority of the larger contractors are actually with FEM is because of the exceptional service that we offer, and we award companies for good health and safety in the form of a merit rebate. Right, so I can almost assure you that majority of contractors who are currently with the traditional workmen's compensation never get any money back, and in other instances you don't have any claims. So if you're looking at paying maybe 100,000 rand in terms of a premium every year, and you don't have any injuries, but you're not getting any benefits, obviously, with using the COIDA services, it does become a bit of a big ticket item. So we try and ensure that companies can get a certain percentage of their premium back based on the claims cost of the industry of FEM clients. So so this happens annually. It actually has been revised as from this year. It's going to be happening annually, but there are specific calculations that are done to ensure that we look at your claims cost for the previous year, and then the following year you can get a certain percentage of your premium back. All right. So in terms of access to health and safety, so yeah, another benefit of being with FEM is that you have access to a health and safety officer on an advisory capacity. We've got affiliations with member entities like your SAFSEC, your MBAs, institutes, your institutes for working on heights, and we've got affiliations with IOPSA, as you know. Okay, so just to also give you another added benefits that we have come through with as FEM, as of 2016, we established a educational fund through the entity called Make a Difference. So the administration, in terms of the scholarship that we offer, isn't administered by us. So we've injected 750 million rand in 2016 to the Make a Difference Foundation to ensure that they assist us in terms of the selection of scholars to enroll in the scholarship. So now, who qualifies for this scholarship? For this scholarship, it is everyone who is an FEM client, basically. So what happens is that we offer this scholarship to our policyholders. So it's the employees of our policyholders who can apply for this scholarship. So the criteria for the scholarship, you're looking at things like that. So it's a leadership. It is a leadership scholarship, and it starts from learners from grade 7 to grade 12, with a academic performance aggregate of 65%, and the gross combined income per household shouldn't exceed 25,000 rand. Must be a South African citizen, and it speaks and understands basic English. So now, what we are saying here is that we will take your child and put them in a private school. All right. So we pay and Matt would pay for the tuition. Will pay for any extramural activities that the child partakes in. They'll pay for your textbooks, and yeah, pretty much as a parent, you don't pay anything from your pockets if they are accepted into this leadership program. Okay, so how does one become an FEM policyholder? So there's two ways to become an FEM policyholder. The way is that, the first way is that if you're a new contractor and require workman's compensation, we treat that as a new registration. It takes plus minus 5 to 7 working days. The second way is that if a contractor already has workman's compensation with the compensation fund and wants to come over to FEM, we treat this as a state transfer, and we facilitate the process from start to finish. So we are approaching now March, and a lot of you would know that when it comes to the renewal of your workman's compensation, it starts from March in the year. So now what I'm saying is that in terms of those contractors which already have a letter of good standing, which already have workman's compensation, is that as FEM, the only thing you'd need to submit to us is the necessary documentation. And documentation like a copy of the director's ID, bank confirmation letter, it would be a record of information, and the actual earnings for the previous cycle. Previous cycle would be from 1st of March 2022, ending end of February 2023. And we would do the submission on your behalf, because now the compensation fund needs to understand and needs to be aware that the company is transferring over. But you as a contractor don't need to liaise with the compensation fund and tell them that you guys are moving from the compensation fund, I'm going to FEM now. We would do that on your behalf. So once we receive your documentation, we will forward you an FEM letter of good standing, so that we ensure that in the event that from the 1st of March you have any claims, you would forward those claims over to FEM and not your old workman's compensation provider. Again, as I did mention, that FEM only takes care of the building and construction industry. So building and construction is very vast. Look, plumbing does fall under building and construction, but something as niche as your industrial cleaning also falls under building and construction. So even if you have other associates or other colleagues in the industry which maybe are in the irrigation or maybe waterproofing, roofing, building, civil, electrical, look, all of those do fall under FEM, and as FEM, we will be able to assist them. And the best part is that it's more benefits, and it's at no extra cost. You literally because remember how the assessment is calculated. the commissioner gazettes the risk rates for each and every industry every year. So whatever rates that is going to be used this year by the fund would be also be used by FEM. So it's yeah, as I did mention, it's getting money back and ensuring that claims are paid on time. You know, claims are paid on time. Medical service providers are paid on time. And in the event that there is a permanent disability that needs to be paid out to an employee, we are at the phone, you know, and we ensure that we, as FEM, we actually get tracked and can get rated on such things. So we ensure that we're always on top of our game. I did send through my details. Well, on the previous slide, you would have seen my contact details there. In the event that anyone needs to transfer over to FEM, please just give me a shout, and then we should be obviously starting the transfer process as from beginning of February, so that is from the 1st of March we can hit the ground running, and then I can forward the letter of good the FEM letter of good standing to the policyholders, and you shouldn't have an issue. It's accepted everywhere. In the odd case that maybe someone is experiencing that they're doing a lot of government contracts and now they're seeing an FEM letter, they're giving you a hassle. My contact numbers should be on speed dial. You give me a call, I can sort it out within minutes. Because you are going to find that odd person here and there who doesn't know about it. It's very seldom, but it does happen. It does happen, yeah.
Yeah, that's thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us today, Ntando. I think people can take away a lot from this and possibly further themselves a bit. Thank you and have a blessed week.